Something happened this week that I wasn't really expecting. Um, I've been in Thailand now for 7 weeks, and it feels like maybe the honeymoon period is over. Um, I mean, I love it here, and I don't want to leave. But I guess I thought I knew. I know. I guess I thought I understood what it would be like leaving Australia and moving to Thailand. And part of it's true. Part of it is what I expected. The other part is completely unexpected. No matter how many YouTube videos you watch and how much advice you can get, it's definitely different when you do it yourself. Not that I regret it. I'm very grateful to be here and I'm very lucky and privileged to be able to be here at only 45. I'm aware of that. But I guess this is just some information to make sure you realize that it may not be as easy as you think it will be. And if anything, you can learn about my experience and what happened with me and what happens on a daily basis. I don't really know exactly what to say, but I just keep talking with my thoughts out loud as I don't want this channel to be fake and it's to be real. The things I miss the most is probably not what most people would expect. You can make the right decision and still grieve what you've left behind, um, no matter what you plan and how you plan for it. It always works out a little bit differently than you expect. I've realized something more about myself and patterns of my thoughts and how I react to things, mostly probably because of my ADHD and autism. Um, I didn't run away to escape my problems. I knew they would come with me. And really, the problems I have are not problems, they're champagne problems, really. Starting over has been maybe a little bit harder than I expected. Not because I'm not happy here. I am. I love my life. I'm very grateful. I have a good life. I live in a good, safe place with people that care about me. It's not that. It's the life that I left behind, thinking that that was the life that I was going to have before the divorce, of course. So trying to give that life up that's stored in my mind is probably the hardest part of being here. Now, I guess in reality, it wouldn't matter if I was in Australia or Thailand. The, the same thought is true. I guess here I'm just further from the life that I had, and that makes it feel harder. But at the same time, I'm not trying to put anyone off moving to Thailand because it's amazing, and I'm very grateful to be here. I know that to be here at 45, living without having to worry about going back to Australia anytime soon is a blessing. So, covering again a little bit from the first episode or intro, that I came to Thailand because ultimately my marriage had ended after 15 years of marriage. It wasn't that I was running away per se. I felt maybe a little trapped back in Australia financially, physically, emotionally trapped. I was unable to afford separate accommodation after my wife left, so I still had to remain home in a family house with the kids living separately in separate rooms, but still under the same roof. And as anybody can imagine who has been through a divorce where you didn't want the divorce, that was very hard and was draining on every level possible. And that went on for a long time. So I had to make a decision about my future and what that looked like. And in Australia, I couldn't afford to get my own home. hence the reason I had to stay in the family house. Being on a fixed income, which is now a pension for my disabilities, I just simply couldn't afford to stay in Australia living by myself. So I had to make the choice of continuing to live with my ex wife and children, or basically packing up and starting a new life there in Thailand where I could afford to live based upon my pension. It wasn't that I was running away from home. It's just that I felt that I didn't have a choice, almost to the point where I was pushed into a corner. I made the best choice I possibly could with the information, funds, and just everything that was at my hand. I made the best choice I could. I had planned to come to Thailand, but not at 45. I thought, as I said in episode one, that maybe if I was late 50s, 60, that I would be here. But that would have been at that time with my ex wife. I planned to sell the business, to retire early, hopefully, and move to Thailand because of the cost of living being cheaper. So I'd always thought about being here and always been drawn to Thailand. But anyway, that plan didn't work out exactly as you know. The divorce came. I made the choice to move here. I arrived on May 2nd, 2026. And everything's been really great since I've been here. Nock's been amazing. She's got a daughter. She's amazing, same age as my children. Her family have generally been pretty accepting of me, and I'm finding it okay, with the exception of the language barrier. I still don't understand a lot of Thai, so there's a lot of conversations with family and around me that I don't understand. And being ASD and ADHD, not being able to communicate or understand where I am or what's happening at times can be quite difficult. I try to go with the flow and just let whatever happens happen. But sometimes when things don't turn out as I planned, it makes me feel confused. Not that that's anyone's fault but mine. I'm in Thailand. I need to learn more Thai. But just from the ASD, ADHD perspective, that can be hard, not knowing what's actually happening around you and what's going to happen later. So I moved to Thailand thinking that it was a better future, a more affordable future, and a future where I could be happier than being trapped at home. And it felt like the right decision. And I still think it is the right decision. I'm grateful to be here. It's just emotionally being separated from my children, who I saw every day because one was homeschooled and I was the primary care parent for their whole life. So to go from being in their life every day to nothing has probably been the most hard thing for me to deal with. And that's what Nock is seeing of me this week. She's seen that I've been, I guess, depressed and sad. And I think she's taking that on like it's her fault. Like she's taken me away from my family, but she hasn't. I chose to be here. I'm happy to be here. It's just the distance between my children that is pulling on my heartstrings and makes me a little sad at times. I've tried to reassure Nock that everything's okay, but you can imagine it's not been easy for her. And I know that. I guess this all started only this week, being 7 weeks later, maybe because the excitement had worn off potentially from my ADHD, the whole planning of coming, the excitement behind that, arriving and then getting settled, setting up the house, which is all done now. And I'm now living my life day to day. And I guess I'm back into the mundane of it. And that's where it kind of really just excitement wears off a little bit and life becomes normal, or is normal now for me. And then you start remembering your old routines, things you used to do back home, foods you used to eat. And for someone with ASD, you would understand that routines are important in the way you live and how much comfort that brings. So to be taken out of that, even though it's my choice, has still been difficult. And I'm learning every day just how to deal with that in myself because I don't have anybody else to talk to in English. Talking to Nock is hard because we primarily rely on translation. She can understand some English and speak some English, but it's very limited. Um, and that's one thing I did hear on YouTube before I got here about it's okay while you're not here because you can translate pretty easily on text message and you're relying on translation devices all the time. It becomes a lot more complicated. The nuance in communication is lost. And there's many times where I choose not to speak or voice my feelings or opinions on something because it's just simply too hard to translate in a way that she'll understand. Not that she won't understand it, but with the emotion behind it. So sometimes I just don't bother talking about it, which is my own problem. And I need to learn more Thai. So that is the plan. I do plan to pick up more Thai, and then that will alleviate the problem. So essentially, that's my responsibility as a foreigner here, not hers. So missing the kids has been the hardest part, 100%. Being their dad, missing being their dad every day hurts. And I do video call them, FaceTime them, text them, of course, every day. But as most parents would understand, that's not quite the same. I'm grateful for it, and seeing them helps. But my eldest is also ASD, and she is finding it hard being away from me. And she is sad about it, has hard time communicating about it. But I understand her and how she does or doesn't communicate. So I understand what she's feeling, and I know that she's having a hard time with it, which makes me sad. So I guess you just realize how much of your old life was just ordinary moments together with your family, even though at those times you think it's boring or this is just life day to day. At that moment, you don't think those moments are important, but really that's what life was about as a dad and a family is just those boring family moments together, cooking, eating, watching TV, just the usual things that I don't have anymore. As for my ex-wife, I still care about her. She was my wife for many years, and she's the mother of my kids. Caring about someone doesn't automatically disappear after a divorce, particularly when you're the person that was left. That doesn't mean I want to go back, but it does mean that grief is complicated, that at times emotions and feelings get confused. And when you're feeling depressed or sad, your mind automatically goes to the good moments, the good memories, and tries to make you think only that when it's not reality, that things didn't work out for a reason and that going back would never be a good idea. Nook. Nook has been incredibly kind to me and Melanie and my girls. She's tried to understand my feelings that aren't really about her. It's a difficult position for anybody to be in, and time will prove. I hope that through better language skills for both of us, our communication improves, that our relationship will also improve with that. So, what I've learned this week is you can still make the right decision, but also miss what you've left behind. Both things can be true at the same time. Life definitely isn't black and white, and starting again isn't exciting every single day. Sometimes it is lonely, and I just have to focus on what I do have here and the positives of it because my life here is pretty amazing. In this video, I'm not trying to teach anybody what to do. I'm simply documenting my own rebuild. Maybe someone else is watching or going through a divorce or just in a similar situation, midlife, ADHD, burned out, just starting again in any shape or form. So if you are, hopefully my thoughts and feelings make you feel a little less alone because there's plenty of us out here that feel the same and it's not just you. I'll keep documenting my thoughts and feeling in the rebuild series. So thanks for spending a few minutes with me, and I'll see you again next time.